Welcome back to study section 3 on MP301 ruminant animal production. In the previous study section, we discussed the types of breed for cattle, sheep, and goats. But here we'll be talking about the management of breeding stock in cattle. Introduction. The successful of any farm animal production lies in the ability to reproduce good quality traits, which form the basis for selection and breeding to achieve the objectives of production. So the male as well as the female are important because each of them provide half of the inherited characteristics of the offspring. Therefore, the farmer must accord good care for the breeding stock in farm animals. At the end of this study section, you should be able to discuss the management of a breeding bull. Secondly, you should be able to explain the meaning of mating systems and its type. Thirdly, you should be able to discuss the management of pregnant cows. And lastly, you should be able to explain the parturition or calving in cattle. Let's talk about this learning outcome one after the other. Management of a breeding bull. Breeding bull are those used to mate the cow or young female cow. The following measures for effective management of breeding bulls should be taken into consideration. They should be kept alone in a pen to prevent indiscriminate mating. Secondly, the bull must not be used more than twice a week to prevent being overused, and the frequency drops as the bull ages. When used on pasture, a mating ratio of 1 to 10 is recommended, that is 1 bull to 10 cows. Exercise is also important for the breeding bulls to prevent sluggishness. Breeding bulls must be upstanding with good legs, and also the hooves must be trimmed regularly to prevent overgrowth, foot rot, or lameness. So a cow is a female ruminant that is already being used for breeding, while Alpha is a young female ruminant which has not been used at all. So female cattle are often kept together but separated as the need arises for mating. They must be allowed for a lot of exercise. They must be allowed to graze with the bull to stimulate or help detect the heat period, which is the period that female animals are very receptive to their male counterparts. So prior to this period, the cow can be given feed in form of concentrate to enhance conception rate, and this act is being called flushing. The heat period of a cow lasts for about 17 hours and it repeats itself every 21 days except if pregnant. When the cow is on heat, it becomes restless, months on one another. The external part of the vulva becomes swelling. It stands and allows the male to ride or attempt to ride other females. So detection of it is now computerized in some dairy farms in developed countries and in a dairy farm in Niger state of this nation. So young female ruminants called Alpha comes on their first heat at about 1 year of their age, and at this point they must not be used for mating. However, a Alpha is ready for breeding from 18 to 21 months of age and can have its first calving at about 30 to 36 months of age. Mating system is the cohabitation between male and female. So in animal production, there are different mating systems that can be used. We have natural mating and controlled mating. So natural mating, this is a type of mating system where the male is allowed to stay with the female and they mate without assistance or interference from attendants or the stockman. The stockman is being referred to as the farmers. Controlled mating. This is a mating system where a particular bulls are assigned to a mate particular cow in a pen or in an enclosure. So this system is usually common where breeding records are important and are being taken place. And there are two types of control mating system. It includes artificial insemination and synchronization. Synchronization, this is the type of controlled mating system where the estrus of a cow is synchronized such that all come on it about the same time. In this situation, synthetic sex hormones such as estrogen that comes under different trade names are either injected or implanted either through the vagina or the hair on the calf or hyphen. So this causes the animals to come on heat about the same time. Hence, they could be mates either by the use of artificial insemination or a bull at the same time. So the advantages of this synchronization is that it allows for easy management of the cows and their offsprings, especially if there is a loss of dam at calving. Hence, the calf could be fostered. Artificial insemination. This is also another form of controlled mating. This is the process of collecting semen with living sperm from proving bull using dummy female of vagina and the timely introduction of same to the reproductive tract of a ready female. This is only practiced on some government farm in Nigeria, and the main problem with the system is that of its detection. However, the system has the advantage of preventing diseases and also overcoming time and space problem. The gestation period in cow ranges from 272 to 292 days, with an average of 283 days. Immediately the cow holds on to cervix, it becomes pregnant, and it must be separated if it is a farm where separate pens are available for pregnant or in cows. Otherwise, it must be kept under the watchful eyes of the attendants to prevent fighting or any action that can lead to abortion. Other means of detecting and confirming pregnancy includes rectal palpation, could be carried out at about 5th week after mating through the genital organ of the cow. The trained technician or a veterinary wears a glove and inserts his or her hand into the genitals through the rectum of the cow and gently palpate or feel the development of the fetus. Secondly, hormonal changes in the animal system can also be monitored. In confirming pregnancy in cow is through observation of the physical behavioral changes of the cow as it begins to undergo conformational changes around the belly and loin area. So adequate feeding, good health care and gentle handling must be given to the cow at the first trimester of pregnancy to prevent abortion. Therefore, a good combination of good quality succulent grass and legumes must be provided with substantial supply of water. Slippery floor must be avoided to prevent falling and dislocation of the cow. A pregnant cow must not be allowed to walk long distance to prevent stress that may lead to abortion. Towards parturition, the in-cow must be well monitored. A maternity pen must be washed, disinfected, well-bedded must be prepared for calving. Hormones such as oxytocin are released, which helps in the contraction of the uterus. The amniotic fluid is released and the animal pushes for the fetus to be expelled. Normally, the fetus come out with the head laid over the forelegs to ease of passage. After this, the placenta is expelled and buried. So the cow must not be allowed to eat if the placenta does not come out between 5 to 8 hours of calving, or fetus comes with wrong presentation. The assistance of a veterinary must be sought. In this part of the world, the cow licks the calf immediately after calving to stimulate the lungs to respiratory action. Whereas in the advanced country, this trait has been breeding out from the animals. So the cows must be cleaned up by washing the father and the calf separated from the mother, where such facilities exist, as in the dairy farms, or the calf is allowed to run with the dam. Soon after birth, calf must be identified by tagging, tattooing, branding, or hair notching. After parturition, the calf may be reared on two basic systems, namely natural and artificial rearing. Under the natural rearing, the calf is allowed to run with dam, thereby having unlimited access to the mother's milk. This is called a cow and a calf system, or sucking. The cow must be cleaned up by washing the vulva and the calf separated from the mother, where such facilities exist, as in a dairy farms, or the calf is allowed to run with the dam. Soon after birth, calves must be identified as tagging, tattooing, branding, or hair notching. So after parturition, the calf may be reared on two basic systems, namely natural and artificial rearing. Under natural rearing, the calf is allowed to run with the dam, thereby having unlimited access to the mother's milk. This is called a cow and calf system, or a single suckling system. If the dam has fostered calf, it is called nurse cow mother, or multiple sucking. In this situation, the calf stays with the dam for not less than a period of about 6 months or about 9 months in some traditional system. So cows reared this way are always very strong and grow more rapidly. So calf could be fed or allowed to suck the first milk of the mother for about 4 or 5 days after parturition. This milk is being called colostrum. So the first milk or colostrum is of importance because it helps to transfer immunity of the mother to the calf at birth. So under artificial rearing, the calf is fed on milk replacers, while the calf is allowed restricted access to the milk of the dam. Usually the calf is bucket fed the milk or through a nipple drink. So the calf must be trained for this. At about the 3rd week of life, the calf is introduced to solid food and good quality forage. Artificial rearing of calves is mostly practiced in dairy cattle produced, while naturally one is popular with beef cattle production. So calves should be completely weaned from liquid diet as from 16th week of their life. I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from this video section. Join me for the next study section. Thank you for listening.